Big matchup. Never before in the 18-year history of the Subway Series have the Yankees and Mets clashed this late in the regular season and with so much on the line. Fox Saturday Baseball presents the Subway Series, the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. With that, we welcome you inside the ballpark with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. The Yankees and Mets have played in the same postseason on 3 occasions. They're both thinking October baseball this year, and it was the Mets taking the opener last night.
Well, it's interesting because both are going in opposite directions. What I mean is the Yankees once had a big lead. Now they're trailing 4.5. Still have hopes of winning the division, but more importantly, securing a playoff spot. The Mets were once trailing, now have a huge lead. All they're trying to do is get their young starters fresh for a playoff run.
Good starting pitching on both sides and 2 big, powerful right-handers on the mound this afternoon.
Well, Syndergaard, the hardest throwing right-hander in the game. This guy is comfortable at home, comfortable in the day game. He's come on the scene and been electric. And for the Mets, they're just hoping he continues that. Michael Pineda, however, has been up and down. You see the numbers in his interleague starts. It's all about his cutter and slider. He needs to throw strike one to have success.
It's the Subway Series with more at stake than just city bragging rights. We're back with the starting lineups and the opening pitch coming up next.
City really gets up for it.
It's an intense rivalry.
I want to win so badly that if New York happens to jump on top of my back and have me carry them along, then I'm going to do everything I can to win.
You know, in my case, I play with the Mets, so I get a little bit more attention every time I play over there.
I know there's no more important baseball than the rivalry between the Mets and the Yankees.
And welcome back to Citi Field. The playoff push for both teams is on. And for the New York Mets, it's an 8-game lead over the Washington Nationals, down to about 2 weeks' worth of regular season action. For the Yankees, losers in 7 of their last 10. Their deficit to the Blue Jays is at 4.5 games. And the Yankees might be thinking more in terms of a wild card than a division series. Of course, there's plenty of time left. And plenty of opportunity for the Yankees head-to-head with Toronto still to come. A gorgeous September afternoon for baseball in Flushing, Queens. We welcome you back to the ballpark with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, all set for one of the more interesting runnings of the Subway Series this afternoon.
Yeah, we've had some attitude changes. I'm talking about the Mets. They had a game here not too long ago against the San Diego Padres, a crushing defeat. Then they go and get Cespedes. Now they feel like they can beat anybody. And the Yankees on the other side, some untimely injuries, especially to Teixeira, and they're trying to hold on to a playoff berth. That 3 out of 4 Toronto series, of which Toronto took 3 of 4 in New York, pretty much put them behind the 8 ball. So now you're just looking to land a spot in the playoffs.
Yoenis Cespedes has made such a huge impact on the Mets. We'll get into the discussion as the game gets going here, but he's been talked about in terms of an MVP this year, despite only having gotten to the Mets at the trade deadline. Let's start the afternoon by setting Joe Girardi's Yankees starting lineup. The top of the order has been cold. Both Ellsbury and Gardner would like to get it going here this afternoon. Carlos Beltran, the ex-Met, however, has been hot. He's hit safely in 10 of his last 11. 7-time All-Star Brian McCann bats clean up this afternoon. Rookie first baseman Greg Birds in the 5-hole. Chase Headley, and then the left-handed hitters Dustin Ackley and Didi Gregorius, followed by the pitcher in this non-DH affair for the Yankees, Michael Pineda.
Well, quick turnaround for the Yankees. You're not going to need much coffee because this fastball is going to wake up every hitter at 99 miles an hour. It gets your attention. The key to Syndergaard's going to be his changeup. That changeup about 8 miles off his fastball will keep the left-handers in check. And of course, throwing strike one for every pitcher is a very, very important thing. He loves pitching during the day game, and he loves pitching at home.
Yeah, you would think that these conditions play nicely for Syndergaard to have success. The 23-year-old rookie right-hander last worked on the road and actually had his best road start of his career. 7 innings of 1-run 2-hit baseball in Atlanta. He struck out 8 Braves in a 6-4 Mets win, for which Syndergaard got a no decision. As we mentioned, the Mets took the opener yesterday. The long ball, a big part of their attack last night, as it has been ever since the end of July. We'll get into those details as we continue here this afternoon as well.
Well, much of the talk on this Mets team has been about innings. You see Matz, a good game yesterday. Syndergaard, way above the most innings he's ever pitched, as are some of the other starters. And that has been the point contention for the Mets of what do they do from this point on to get them ready for a playoff run.
Ellsbury, Gardner, and Beltran set to start things here for the visiting Yankees. Last night's a sellout, the 5th of the year at Citi Field this season, and they're anticipating that same kind of crowd here today, though it's a little later in arriving. They're looking for another sellout crowd this afternoon. Underway in Flushing, Queens, and Noah Syndergaard's first pitch misses off the plate. A ball and no strikes to Jacoby Ellsbury, who gets here for this one. As we mentioned, cold. 4 for his last 38. His numbers over a 9-game stretch. In fact, the top of the order has cooled off at exactly the wrong time in the season for Joe Girardi. And on a day like today, John, when the Yankees are without the DH, that makes an even bigger impact.
Yeah, they definitely need Ellsbury to get going. He sets the table.
And he'll do so here with a base hit into right center field.
And one of the problems Ellsbury's been having is letting the ball get too deep. And a guy like today on the mound at 99 miles an hour, you're more apt to get out in front. If you get too deep you struggle a little bit from the offensive standpoint. He'll take that broken hit. Maybe that gets the Yankees going.
Remember, it's easy to play DraftKings, and there are thousands of dollars in prizes every day. Enter the promo code BALLGAME to play for free at DraftKings.com. Who are you starting today, John?
Well, I think Brian McCann, as they need a little bit more punch in that lineup. I like Brian McCann, Curtis Granderson, and Daniel Murphy.
Murphy had a big day yesterday. One of the Met home runs coming from him. Runner aboard to start the afternoon against Syndergaard, and Jacoby Ellsbury, though he has not attempted to run a lot since the break, does have 18 bags on the year. He's always a threat to go. Out of the stretch, first offering to Brett Gardner is in for a strike.
You know, the theme for the Yankees and Joe Girardi is going to be with each passing day that they don't get a win, that just means more outs out of the bullpen. And what I mean by that is they're going to play a much shorter game and look for Betances and Miller to play at least 3 innings worth of their efforts if they have the lead.
Ellsbury stays put again, and it's quickly 0-2 to Brett Gardner. You mentioned Syndergaard's good daytime numbers. You mentioned how good he's been at home. It's the home cooking that really grabs your attention. He's 7-1 in this ballpark with a 2.15 ERA and an opponent's batting average under 200. That's in 10 home starts this year. Is 0-2 home, and Gardner sends it into the same spot that Ellsbury did. Back-to-back singles open the afternoon for the Yankees. Keys to the game are sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Well, it's going to seem like we're cheating here, but get to the top of the order going, basically right there, first and second. And for the Mets, stay aggressive on the first pitch, as they have been offensive juggernauts in the second half. So for the Yankees, you couldn't ask for a better start. Beltran's been hot in the second half, and then you've got McCann on deck. The Yankees have to turn around their own fortunes with feeling good about playing the game, getting the lead, and as I said, turning it over to the bullpen.
Here's the switch hitting 7-time All-Star and former Met Carlos Beltran, and he takes a strike on the inside corner with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Beltran, as we mentioned, has hit safely in 10 of his last 11, putting a bad start to bed at around the midsummer mark. It's been one of the Yankees' bigger offensive contributors down the stretch. There's a fastball blown right past him. 0-2.
This kid's repertoire, you're seeing already. 98 to 100 miles an hour, 4-seam. He's got a 2-seamer that sinks. His changeup is a lot of persons' fastballs 10 years ago. 91 mile an hour, good depth and arm action. He's got a slider and a curveball. He'll throw the curveball more than he throws the slider.
Still 0-2 to Carlos Beltran. There has been so much discussion about the young Mets rotation. It's really what the franchise has hung its cap on these last couple of years, waiting for this class of pitchers to arrive, as they have in 2015. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, of course, who's gotten all kinds of attention this year. And the guy on the mound, Noah Syndergaard. And it's 3-0 New York Yankees. The ex-Met comes back to haunt. Carlos Beltran, 16th of the year.
Well, unfortunately for Syndergaard, this is Beltran's sweet spot. The left-hander down and in, kind of that perfect swing plane that he has. See where they try to go? That is dangerous for Beltran, who made a living all his career on that kind of pitch. You either got to get him up, or down, bounce something down in that lower quadrant.
It's 3-0 Yankees before Noah Syndergaard's able to record his first out of the afternoon. Nothing in 1 to Brian McCann.
There's the changeup right there. You're early on, a young pitcher, any pitcher comes and wants to establish his fastball in the first inning. He gives up 2 bleeders. He gets 2 strikes on Beltran, and then he throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the wrong spot, and that resulted in a home run. His first inning ERA is now around 6. There's only one other inning that he struggles in, and that's the 6th inning. So the first and the 6th inning are the innings that give Syndergaard the most trouble for whatever reason, and then he settles down.
The Yankees doing more damage in 3 at-bats this afternoon than they were able to do in 9 innings last night against left-hander Steven Matz and company. Two balls and 2 strikes to the 7-time All-Star, and there's the first out of the afternoon for Noah Syndergaard.
Now the difference in this new look Mets team is we see this fastball perfectly placed in the outside part of the plate with a lot of velocity. is they have the capacity they've shown to come back and score multiple runs in an inning. The old Mets team that was in second place and struggling, this game would have been over. Thanks to that man, they've got new life offensively.
Here's the rookie first baseman now, Greg Bird. Well, it would seem a combustible formula. A rookie starter who's had his first inning hiccups, and a Yankee lineup that's done its best work early in ball games. A 3-run home run by Carlos Beltran here today means that the Yankees have now scored 116 in the first. That is the highest run scoring first inning of any team in baseball. The 1-2 to Bird. Checks his swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's the pitch that could use a little upgrade as far as the consistency of it. Throwing that pitch closer to the strike zone with the velocity that he has, it's almost impossible for a hitter to lay off of it. But if he starts it too low, the hitter recognizes it low enough to where it's going to be a ball, and their aggressiveness does not go after that pitch.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Syndergaard.
I mentioned about the early wake-up call for the Yankees hitters as far as this fastball goes. Well, the Yankee hitters gave Syndergaard a little wake-up call, and you could see a little more aggression in his last 2 hitters.
So 2 gone now for the number 6 batter, switch hitting third baseman Chase Headley. The pick on the first pitch and wrap it to Lucas Duda to retire the side. Not before the damage is done. Blooper, blooper, homer. And the Yankees claim an early 3-0 lead. Got to the young rookie Noah Syndergaard to the tune of a 3-run home run in the top of the first. That explains the early scoring. As we take a look at Terry Collins' New York Mets starting lineup this afternoon. 3-time All-Star Curtis Granderson leads it off. Yoenis Cespedes, as good as he's been, he's over his last 13. He's in center field batting second. Murphy, Wright, and Duda bat 3 through 5. Wilmer Flores has been resurgent since the almost trade back in July. He's at shortstop hitting 6th. Michael Conforto, Kevin Plawecki, and Noah Syndergaard round out the lineup for the Mets. It is the 26-year-old veteran right-hander Michael Pineda to make his 24th start of the season for the Yankees. 10-8 on the year. And had it not been for a trio of home runs his last time around, may have had better results against the Blue Jays.
Pineda doesn't throw anything straight. Cuts just about everything. And the first pitch that of the at bat, when teams put it in play, at almost a 470 clip.
2 balls and a strike. The count to Curtis Granderson starting things out. Pineda's line in that last start on Saturday went 5 1/3, allowed 4 earned runs. The 3 home runs were his undoing, but it was the extra innings portion of the afternoon that ultimately made the Yankees losers that day. First of a doubleheader, and the 11th inning got away from New York. They ended up losing to the Jays 9-5, as you see Pineda's line.
Really, when his slider's on and his command of his fastball, he's tough to hit. You know, a lot will be determined on early on how the ball's coming out of his hand. Is he staying on top of the ball? And that'll affect the way McCann calls this game as well. Granderson's gone from a triples hitter with the Tigers to a home run hitter with the Yankees to an on-base patient hitter with the Mets.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Granderson, starting out the home first. 0 for 4 in the opener yesterday. You know, one of the things to watch for tonight with Pineda, today I should say, is the fact that he's working on 6 days rest, which has not led to very good results this season. He has made 3 such starts this year, is winless in those affairs, with an ERA over 6 and an opponent's batting average into the 320s. He does strike out Curtis Granderson to open the ball game.
See the fastball cut right back over the outside corner. Granderson recognizes this is going to be a strike, but cannot get to the outside part. A very good pitch for Pineda and a good start.
So 1 out in the home first for Yoenis Cespedes. Career numbers across the board for a guy who, despite being around in Flushing, Queens for 2 or so months, has become a fan favorite and has spawned a new fashion movement all over New York City. Fans can be seen wearing canary yellow compression sleeves from Staten Island all the way out here in Queens. How that's legal given the uniform code is still beyond me, but it's become a thing. The ball and a strike to count to Cespedes.
Well, the thing lately for Cespedes, he's in a tiny little slump. Has not been attacking the baseball at the rate. You knew he would cool off a little bit. It's kind of hard to maintain the torrid stretch he's been on. But the ball down gives him trouble like most right-handed hitters. So anything up over the plate, creeping in, he's going to crush. If you get a slider working away from him right here after fouling off an outside fastball, if that's what they choose, McCann does, he typically will swing. You see 0 for his last 13. He will swing and extend the strike zone down.
The 1-2 from Pineda. Back up the middle. That carries nicely for Jacoby Ellsbury as far as the Yankees are concerned, and there are 2 away. So Cespedes' little mini slump continues, and you can kind of trace it back to a midweek series rather, with the Marlins. He was hit by a pitch by Marlin right-hander Tom Kohler as a part of a disappointing series for the Mets. That was on Tuesday, and Cespedes is without a hit since then.
Pineda got lucky there. He hung the slider over the middle, and he lined it out to straightaway center.
2 out, bases empty now for Daniel Murphy, who homered yesterday. A homer and a triple. Murphy had been just 8 for his previous 52 before coming around yesterday in the series opener with the Yankees. Part of the ebbs and flows of the schedule, John, I've heard you speak to this many times. You know, peaking at the right time has a lot to do with postseason success. And the Mets were blistering hot offensively through the month of August. That's not to say that it won't continue in part. But for a guy like Cespedes, who's a 265-ish career hitter, if he has 3 or 4 weeks where he's hitting around 400, regression is going to play a role at some point.
Yeah, it has to. And then certain guys will, you know, expose a little window there where they go down. The right type of pitches will get anybody out. And I think the fact that Cespedes, in the most crucial of times, hit some homers against the Nationals, that stretch and that torrid stretch that the Mets went on, has changed their outlook of games like this. Down 3-0, no big deal. We can score.
Pineda, meanwhile, has fallen behind Daniel Murphy. The 3-1 pitch catches a corner, and it's a full count now, 3-2. David Wright waiting on deck. He too had a couple of hits yesterday and has batted safely in 5 straight. 2 out, bases empty. 3-0 Yankees early. The 3-2 home to Murphy is slapped to the left side of the infield. There's Headley in the shift. And it's a 1-2-3 start to the day for Michael Pineda. By the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2015 postseason beginning October 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Noah Syndergaard touched up by that 3-run first inning home run off the bat of Carlos Beltran, and a little more in his first inning struggles. As you can see, a lot of the long balls have come early.
Well, with a guy that establishes fastball and command maybe not the perfect area of power, that's what happens. You use the power of the pitcher, and in the right situation, like in Beltran's case, not a horrible pitch, but that's what he likes. That's his swing path.
0-2 to Dustin Ackley leading off the second. Ackley, Gregorius, and then Pineda, the bottom third of the order here in the second. Dustin Ackley getting an opportunity to start at second base this afternoon. Really been a rotating cast of characters there for the Yankees since the Robinson Cano departure a couple of years ago. Ackley was shipped over from Seattle right at the deadline. Has not had a lot of opportunity to play as a Yankee because of a back injury that hit him when he was still unpacking his suitcase in New York. Really? Not literally, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was just settling in, back injury, DL, and just getting healthy again within the last 2 weeks. And on the appeal, they punch him out. That's 3 for Syndergaard today.
Ackley likes to open up his front side, and he tries to prevent the barrel of the bat from getting in front of the plate, but I think he did not do a good job, and that's resulting in a strike.
It's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball from Noah Syndergaard, a little north of his average fastball velocity, which is the highest in the National League this season. First pitch to Didi Gregorius, out to Murphy, who backhands at second for round number 2. If we had gone one name farther on that list, John, 3 of the 6 hardest throwing National League starters are New York Mets. And it's part of the reason that this franchise is so excited about its future. Between Syndergaard, Harvey, and DeGrom, and that's not even talking about younger guys like Steven Matz, who's not among the harder throwers, but a guy who might have a future every bit as bright.
And that's why I'm surprised why people reacted to my comment when asked, how do you compare this staff to yours that you pitched with? I said, there's no comparison. They got way better stuff than we did. And people were like, couldn't believe I said it. I said, I don't know what you're watching, but ask each individual starter on our staff, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Michael Pineda slaps it to Murphy, and it's a very quick 1-2-3 inning for Noah Syndergaard. To the home second, still 3-0 Yankees. The postseason in the same year 3 times, and in none of those seasons were things more exciting than 2000 when they met in the Subway World Series. It was Piazza versus Clemens. It was the Mets and the Yankees, with New York Yankees winning the series in 5 games, their 26th World Series title coming at the expense of their crosstown rivals. And there have been whispers of perhaps a chance at that same kind of scenario in 2015. They played in the same postseason back in 2006. Neither team's getting as far as they would have liked. And here they are in 2015, each looking at a very real possibility of going deep into the fall. David Wright leads things off against Michael Pineda in the second. Wright, Duda, and Flores middle of the order, with the Mets trailing 3-0.
At this point, of course, if the Yankees get a deep run, they're going to need a Bumgarner-like performance in a 1-game playoff, and then somebody get hot to help carry them through the next series, and then possibly act like the Kansas City Royals with their 1-2 punch at the end of the game, eating up a lot of innings. The Yankees are built for the one-game playoff, I believe, because of their bullpen to shorten the game. But we'll find out who they play and what the matchups are.
Two balls and two strikes to David Wright. Well, the Blue Jays are going to be awfully tough to run down. The Yankees at the start of play today in the top wild card spot. 4 games better than Houston. The pesky teams like Minnesota, the Angels, and the Indians have gotten back onto the radar. They just won't go away. As far as the East, 4.5 game deficit to the powerful Blue Jays. They still do have another series left head to head, but I do believe they're going to be tough to run down.
Yeah, for me, the Twins have the hardest road.
Swing and a miss by Wright. 2 strikeouts for Michael Pineda. A reminder, today's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Data Strong network.
Twins still have 7 games left with the hard-charging Indians, and of course a few games left with the Angels. 2 teams that you know if you beat them, you gain on them. You see the standings right there. Angels now with a doubleheader today, crucial doubleheader against Minnesota, and then Houston trying to get back on track at home. With both Houston and the Rangers losing, that lead remains the same in their division. And I want to finish that thought, Matt, on what I was saying about the Mets rotation. When people were like, can you say they have better stuff? Well, they do. They all throw over 95 miles an hour, and we didn't have anybody really that did that. I was the hardest thrower of the 3. We just did it longer, and we did it in a different way. These guys won't, unfortunately, stick together for 10 years and 15 in some cases. But their ability to obviously have the kind of stuff they have is the position their Mets team is in. They're a year ahead of what I think everybody in the world thought would happen.
Pineda and McCann want to get back on the same page here on a 1-1 count to Lucas Duda. Two balls and a strike. Well, it's a chance at the postseason where this group of young Mets would really put themselves on the map. And with a seemingly comfortable lead in the NL East, it would appear they will have that opportunity.
But the biggest difference they're facing, they have so much external noise of what they haven't and what they can't do based on the innings and when, the tiredness, the legitimacy of Harvey is out there, because when you have a Tommy John surgery, you can't just let the tank go empty, right? You can't just pitch unlimited. So there is some restrictions there, but everybody else is exceeding their innings limit. And they're hearing it from all angles. We were young when we went on our run. We didn't have anybody say anything to us. We were able to have and be stretched out right from the very beginning in '91. These guys are experiencing it for the first time. And they have to find a way to shut out the external noise and stay true to their workouts, their bullpens, and know that they can do this run no different than anything else. And I think the luxury of their 8-game lead is going to help that.
Well, the big 3 of DeGrom, Harvey, and Syndergaard are all on pace to eclipse previous career innings high workload. And in the case of that guy, Noah Syndergaard, he's going to shatter it. He's going to go way past his previous career high. And Lucas Duda flares a base hit into right center field. First base runner of the day for the Mets. Well, it's a group that is young and talented, and maybe in a different season, John Neese would be considered among the kids, but he's one of the old salty veterans here. Jacob deGrom, the reigning NL Rookie of the Year, is 27. Matt Harvey at 26, successfully coming back off the Tommy John. Steven Matz was terrific yesterday, a local product. He's only 24. And then Syndergaard, as the benefits from the R.A. Dickey trade just keep a-coming, only 23 years old. A one-out base runner now here in the home second for Wilmer Flores. Is there one thing, one idea, one sage bit of advice that you would give a a young group like this headed into its first postseason experience?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, I mean, they don't have the luxury of knowing what their body can and can't do. Listening to their body, taking a bullpen off, cutting back on a workout, making sure that you stay fresh mentally. Physically, you're going to be fine. But what happens is you start thinking, and the mental awareness of what's going on wears you down. You're going to get tired. What happens at this time of the year, because you have not been given the opportunity in years past to run through September and pitch 200 innings, your location suffers. Yeah, you get a little leg weary, and then the next thing you know, you suffer statistically, and that's what everyone's trying to figure out for the Mets. But having been through the time and era that I did, and having a veteran like Charlie Leibrandt, they really are young. They don't have anybody to turn to, and they are such flamethrowers that they get out there and attack. And eventually their ability to pitch, which they will learn and get better, will come in age and years.
One-two to Flores is grounded to third. A great stop by Chase Headley to get the out at the bag. Ball looked like it was ticketed for the left field corner. Instead, there are two away with a runner at second.
That's a very good play. You see him moving the other way, anticipating where the pitch was going to be thrown. But he does a nice job adjusting, diving, getting to his feet, and making the play. Very nice play.
Headley, a Gold Glover back in 2013 in San Diego. 2012, check that.
The other thought, Matt, to finish that up, both the Astros and the Mets were a year away and were both in positions to make moves from the front office, almost forced to make moves here in the Mets. They did it, and now they're rushing ahead of their plan, trying to figure out that Harvey would have already been shut down right now. If they weren't competitive and not in the playoffs, he'd have been shut down. DeGrom would be shut down. And then next year would be all bets are off. Everybody's got the luxury to do what they want. Same thing in Houston. They went and added a veteran pitcher. They made some trades to actually put them in this position to be in the moment now and win in the postseason. And now the Mets are primed and ready with an 8-game lead to do the same.
Ball and no strikes to the rookie left fielder Michael Conforto. Yeah, the fact that the winning came a little sooner than some may have expected, it certainly changed what you're talking about. And it also may have changed things on the other side of the scorecard. I don't know that Michael Conforto was being thought of as a 2015 contributor necessarily at the big league level. Yet his call up from the minors was every bit as important to this offense finding its way as the Cespedes acquisition, as the Kelly Johnson Juan Uribe deal. 2-0 pitch to him is centered back up the middle, and it knuckles right to Jacoby Ellsbury. Nothing comes of the one-out single. We played 2 this afternoon. Still 3-0 Mets. Is back with new episodes and new villains. Strap in for the next chapter in the war between good and evil. Gotham: Rise of the Villains. Season premiere Monday, 8/7 Central, right here on Fox. It is the Yankees. The Yankees with a 3-0 lead as we start the top half of the third. Back with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. It was the top of the order that did the damage in the top of the first. Flair singles off the bats of Ellsbury and Gardner. And then the big blow, the 3-run home run by Carlos Beltran.
These teams have taken opposite spectrums offensively to the second half respective of each team. Of course, the Mets since August 1st are leading just about in every category or close to the top. And the Yankees have gone the other way. Struggling in the second half offensively has led to their record, and of course that's come because the front and top of this lineup has gone with it.
A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Jacoby Ellsbury.
Beltran and Didi Gregorius have helped carry that while the others have struggled. With Teixeira out, they're really going to lean hard on Ellsbury, McCann, and then when they get back to the American League style, of course, A-Rod in the DH spot.
1-2 pitch is hit in front of the plate as Plawecki gets to it to take care of Ellsbury. We say hello to the third member of our broadcast crew, J.P. Morosi, who between innings got to visit with Mets manager Terry Collins.
Terry, what did you see with Syndergaard there in the first inning, and how well have you liked his adjustments there since then?
Well, he's all keyed up like everybody else in this series, and he's got a great arm, and he just when you face guys like Beltran, you just can't try to overpower those guys. You got to make pitches.
Terry, big picture question for you here. It's your 5th year here in New York. We're seeing the crowd today, the atmosphere. How much fun are you having right now?
Well, it's a blast here. It's this is an exciting place to manage, exciting place to play. The New York fans are tremendous. They know baseball. They love their teams, and they want to win here.
Thanks, Terry. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Over 1,600 career games as a skipper without a postseason appearance, and a fine catch in left by Michael Conforto. Wow!
I'm telling you right now, this is as good as it gets. He took a route that he thought he would cut it off. Right here, he realizes, I've got to give up my body, and the warning track is what I'm going to land on, not grass. Great play. We've seen the ball yesterday, last night, Carey, and that one off of Gardner. What a big-time play by Conforto.
2 out, bases empty for Carlos Beltran after the brilliant catch by the rookie in left. It's hard to imagine watching Michael Conforto, even though you point out the misstep initially on the route, that kind of the read on him as an amateur player was he can hit, we'll wait and see defensively. He's answered so many of those questions. One hop comebacker for Syndergaard, and with a little help in left, it's a 1-2-3 inning for the rookie right-hander. Still 3-0 Yanks.
the bottom of the third. The top of the third went pretty well for Syndergaard as he's going to let his teammate know, thanks. That double that you just saved me, way to go. Pick me up. And the pitcher will pick up a player when he can, but in that case, he was letting him know. That's a great play.
What's that worth? Steak dinner? Watch?
If that would have been in the ninth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's October,
Yeah.
It's a steak dinner. I get you. Kevin Plawecki leads off the third.
I got one of those stories I'll tell you after this pitch.
Plawecki, Syndergaard, and Granderson here in the bottom of the third inning. Soft liner out to left for Gardner, one away.
We're in Colorado. I'm losing by one. I pitched through the eighth inning with 2 outs, nobody on. Our guys go back-to-back home runs. I got the lead. I'm in line for the win. I go up to him. I tell him I'm buying you both suits when we get to New York. That was our next trip. Within 4 pitches, the reliever came in and blew the game, and we lost. They came up to me as quiet as they could, and they go, "Do we still get our suits?" I said, "Yeah, you still get your suits."
There's Noah Syndergaard now with one away. Syndergaard, that rare pitch right, bat left talent, who has hit a home run this year, and who, according to all who have watched him swing the bat most of the season, is among the better hitting pitchers in baseball. In fact, let's show it to you.
Ball smoked, by the way.
He was still feeling his way through the big leagues. He had just been called up from AAA. Put himself on the map as a hitter. A bouncer back up the middle for Gregorius, and 2 quick outs for Michael Pineda.
I mean, if you think about it, DeGrom comes up in his debut, pitches great against the Yankees, doesn't get the win. Matz comes in, lights this whole place on fire, gets a couple hits, 3 hits, wins his debut. Syndergaard comes up, hits a home run. This whole young staff has come together with flair, expectation, and now they just got to make sure they check their egos at the door and understand collectively what they can do. Because if they're all worried about being the guy, they're going to get humbled.
There's Curtis Granderson now with 2 out and the base is empty. And Granderson takes a strike. Well, there have been highly touted pitching trios that have come up in this organization previously. I know Met fans certainly remember the Bill Pulsipher, Paul Wilson, Jason Isringhausen group known as Generation K. And as talented as they were, as nicely as their careers began, it never turned into that dominant consecutive years of success that folks had envisioned. It is rare when say a Hudson Mulder Zito group comes up at the same time as you guys did in Atlanta and has that kind of continued success.
Well, and they've got another guy coming next year in Wheeler. That was the bonus of not trading him for Carlos Gomez. They get to keep him, and what they've got now is they've got the chips and the pieces that if they even want to, and let's say they don't sign Cespedes, they have the ability to go get a marquee guy in the outfield or infield because they have some tradability.
Second 3-1 count that Michael Pineda's been in this afternoon. Curtis Granderson says hello. If it stays fair, it's trouble. It is well foul and right. So it's a full count to Granderson. 2 out. Base is empty here in the home third. Yankees, as per usual, in one of their exaggerated shift, brought to you by StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. They have loaded up the right side of the infield, but it doesn't matter. There's ball 4. A rare Michael Pineda walk. We've mentioned a couple of times the Mets' offensive turnaround coming at the end of July. At the time, they weren't hitting, they weren't scoring runs. Last in Major League Baseball in both of those categories, but since changing the complexion of the lineup, they've taken off. First place in the East, batting .270 since then, averaging almost 6 runs per game, tops in the National League. Only the heavy-hitting Jays score more. And it hasn't only been Yoenis Cespedes. We talked about the Kelly Johnson Juan Uribe deal, Conforto coming up from the minor leagues. This guy has been the linchpin, however, make no mistake. Since that time, August 1st, tops in the National League in home runs, RBIs, slugging. And despite a very limited time as a New York Met, John, he has entered into the minds of some for National League MVP consideration.
Oh, absolutely. I think what he's done is turned everybody's head around going, are you kidding me? 17 home runs, and it helped the franchise go from second to well in first place. It's been incredible. I mean, he won't win it, but to be in the talk is incredible in of itself. And they're just hoping that he's got a little bit left. When you face the likes of a Kershaw and a Greinke, they're going to need this kind of balance throughout the lineup. Guys to come up huge.
A ball and a strike to count to Yoenis Cespedes with a runner aboard and 2 gone. Just a walk and a single thus far against Michael Pineda.
The numbers in the second half collectively for the Mets have been ridiculous. I mean, with the exception of Duda and Uribe, everybody's well over 250. I mean, it's impressive to see this turnaround and the collective team average go up in the second half, and the home runs. This team didn't hit hardly any home runs, and now they're best in baseball since August 1st.
Cespedes, a free agent at season's end. There's already been a lot of speculation about the suitors. You could ask Carlos Beltran about what it's like and how it affects your bank account when you get really hot in the last year of your deal after being traded and then single-handedly lifting your team to the playoffs. That's what happened with Beltran when Kansas City shipped him to Houston at the end of the 2004 season. He got red hot at the right time, signed a huge deal to come to the Mets. Maybe there weren't as many zeros on that deal without the big finish as an Astro.
No doubt. I think that postseason, 7 home runs, something like that. We've faced him, so I know he hit a few against us.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, it would seem that the price of poker for Yoenis Cespedes is going up with each passing day. In fact, there have been multiple reports in the New York area that his camp is looking for at least a six-year deal. Two balls and 2 strikes. I, for one, can't imagine a better place for him than right here. I mean, he's won a home run derby here. It's a city that loves its stars.
I think one way or another, he might be in New York.
Oh, you're even talking about the visiting uniform.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be an interesting scenario? Back-to-back full counts. He lost Granderson on the walk with 2 away. Here's the 3-2 to Cespedes. A cue shot off the end of the bat that will retire the side. Nobody passed first on the watch of Michael Pineda through the first 3. sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. And by Head & Shoulders. Shoulders were made for greatness, not dandruff. 3-0 Yankees as we head to the fourth. 3-run home run by Carlos Beltran in the first. And it'll be Brian McCann to lead things off in the visiting half of the fourth. McCann, Bird, and Headley. 9 in a row set down by the rookie right-hander Noah Syndergaard after yielding that Beltran homer. And hoping his lineup can pick him up later this afternoon. McCann, a strikeout victim his first time up. One of the 3 hung by Syndergaard his first time through the lineup.
Started throwing some changeups to McCann after the 3 runs had been given up in the first inning. Another one there. 11 of 13 first pitch strikes. Good recipe for success.
1-1 to the 7-time All-Stars in for a strike. Brian McCann with 25 home runs on the season. First among all major league catchers. His 87 RBI, second only to San Francisco's Buster Posey among big league backstops. And that's sprayed to the third baseman David Wright. A rare Mets shift works on McCann. And there is one away. Talk about the veterans on this club, guys like McCann and Beltran, and we asked Joe Girardi between innings about the important role his veteran right fielder Carlos Beltran plays.
Well, I just think his presence in our lineup is switch hitter number 1, a guy that's been through so much in his career, you know, has been expected to be the guy and has done some wonderful things in the playoffs. He's really big for us.
Joe, I know if you could bottle up Michael Pineda and all of the stuff that he can do good, it would be outstanding for you for the rest of the run.
Yeah, and we really need this guy to step up, and we know that he has the ability. And you know, the big thing that we talk about always is the depth of his slider, and when he has some depth, he's usually pretty good.
Joe, we appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, guys.
The Yankees get so much, John, from their veteran players. One of the youngsters, Greg Bird, bats here with one away. Most of the offense comes from the older guys.
Well, and they knew going in, talking to McCann before the season started, he felt good that every single person, including himself, can improve upon last year. Now, they were going to have to stay healthy, and every single person improved. Everyone has had a much better year, including the unexpected from A-Rod. And when I say unexpected, I don't think anyone could have thought 32 home runs.
No question. Well, the most hits by players 35 years or older, it's the Yankees well in front of the Phillies. And you talk about, you know, 2 teams on opposite ends of the success spectrum. Full count now to Greg Bird, 3-2.
Everyone was concerned about Tanaka. Will he make it through the year? He went on the DL. Everyone said, oh, here we go. Pineda went on the DL, but they've gotten good performances from their young guys. They've bridged the gap in their bullpen, and really for most of the year held control of first place until the Blue Jays absolutely transformed their team and got on a roll.
Full count to Greg Bird. 1 out, bases empty, visitors fourth, and a swing and a miss. That's 4 this afternoon for Noah Syndergaard.
That is a nasty hard slider right there. It looks like a fastball, 90 miles an hour. Started over the middle and let it just cut in under the hands of Bird.
$11 in a row set down by Syndergaard since the 3-run home run by Carlos Beltran. Here's Chase Headley now.
The only disadvantage that I can see the Mets having, there's the advantage of being able to rest them, right? Because that's what they can do with a big lead. But I can remember going down the stretch, and every game for the last 5 games was playoff games for us. And you get used to it, and you get loving it. And then that first game's not such a surprise because the elevated fan base here, I'm telling you, with each week this season plays on, there's not many left. The volume in this stadium will get louder and more intense because they're as hungry as the players are. They've been waiting for a long time.
Headley wraps it to second. There's Murphy. And there's another 1-2-3 inning for Noah Syndergaard, who's retired 12 straight Yankees, yet still trails 3-zip. MLB Memory Bank to share yours. 3-0 Yankees the score as the Mets take swings in the bottom half of the 4th. They'll send up Murphy, Wright, and Duda, the 3-4-5 batters, against Michael Pineda, who's 56 pitches into his afternoon so far. His heaviest workload since coming off the DL came in his last start Saturday against the Blue Jays. He had a 98-pitch evening. As Murphy fouls off an 0-1 pitch to fall behind 0-2. I don't know that there's cause for concern there because, as John has mentioned a couple of times already today, the back end of the Yankee bullpen is among the best in baseball. And that 3-run lead is such an important thing. Here's the 0-2 to Murphy. Off Pineda. Trickling to Ackley, who picks up and doesn't get it there in time. Very close at first base as Murphy's able to leg out an infield single.
And they take a look at that one. They always tell the players to hold on, don't get on the mound. We're going to get our instant replay people in the locker room to get a quick look, see it off the knee. And this has a little bit of spin. It looks like he's going to be out, in my opinion. Maybe not. Ooh. Maybe not. Wow. Maybe not. That's a better view.
How about that? We get 2-3 different looks at it and still come up with the right answer. And it looks like the call on the field was the right one.
Well, with Michael Pineda, I don't anticipate him looking to go 7 or 8 innings because with each passing day that the game's not won or banked for the Yankees, they're going to ask Betances to pitch multiple innings and maybe even Miller. look for this game, especially with the 3-0 lead, for Michael Pineda to get through 2 more innings tops and then turn it over to the pen.
Here's David Wright now. First time that the Mets have had their leadoff hitter aboard as Wright lays off a pitch inside.
And that recipe was what his last start was all about until he gave up that 2-out, I believe, 2-run homer.
That's right.
Tied the game, and then it threw everything into really the not designed plan from Joe Girardi, because then he had to use his studs in a tie game versus a winning game.
On the ground to third. Headley to Ackley. No relay as Daniel Murphy made sure of that. So 1 out, 1 on. Here's Lucas Duda, who's singled back in the second.
Duda's been up and down. He's had some stretches that have not been exactly the way you would like it. September, not as kind as August was. August hit over 300.
Yeah, Lucas Duda has really endured the peaks and valleys of a very streaky season. The power, the home runs have come in bunches, and then there have been some long valleys in his 2015 line as well. Back injury was a part of the story for him. A ball and a strike.
That is a great pitch. That's that natural cut. That thing's late. Before he got hurt in Seattle, he threw harder, but the ball was straighter. Now everything cuts.
Duda once again homered yesterday. Homered and doubled yesterday in the opener. Had been 3 for 25 before breaking out yesterday. There are a lot of people around the Mets that feel like he's the guy that holds the key. See the Yankees in the shift once again, brought to you by StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. A wide open left side of the infield. Pineda misses to fall behind 2-1. Michael Pineda has walked a batter today. That in and of itself is newsworthy. He leads the American League with a strikeout to walk ratio of nearly 7-1. Right at first with 1 gone. 3-0 Yankees. The 2-1. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know, for each team, the rotations are not locked in stone if you're talking about how to align in a 5-game division series. We talk about all the moving parts with innings limits and some of the peripheral noise that Terry Collins has had to deal with. And outside of Masahiro Tanaka, who would be your almost locked number 1, it's debatable how Joe Girardi will line up 2 through 4 should they go that deep.
I think Terry Collins has both the envious position but dubious position at the same time, because he has 4 dynamic arms. And let's just say they match up against the Los Angeles Dodgers, and let's say they start in LA. I would be more apt to look at those road home splits. I'd be more apt to know that my 3, 4, and 5 have a better capacity than necessarily trying to split one of those 2 against their studs in Kershaw and Greinke. Because as it plays out, that's what you want to do anyways. If you start on the road, you got to win 1 game. But then when you come home, your 3 and 4 starters arguably are better than anybody else's 3 or 4 starters. So you got to like your chances in a best of 5 if you're the Mets with what they can run out there. It'd be a great story. Sorry, it'd be a great story to see them match up against the veteran studs, Cy Young Award winners, and the future Cy Young Award winners in the making.
Wright runs with 1 gone. A swing and a miss at the plate. Throw to second. Strike him out. Throw him out. Double play. Nothing in the Mets half of the 4th. An inning that started with promise ends in a 0. Still 3-0 Yanks. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Noah Syndergaard back to work. He's been hoping for that bit of offensive support that could change the dialogue. It hasn't come yet. Dustin Ackley greets him with a first pitch swing and a high drive to straightaway center. Cespedes is unable to make the catch. Ackley on his way to third. Murphy's relay throw hits him in the back, and it's a leadoff triple for Dustin Ackley.
Cespedes saw this thing, and I thought he had it tracked, but this ball's hit really good. And as Cespedes gets to the farthest part of the park, you see him trying to get in, and the ball takes a little drift over, and that's what gets him. Had he been more squared up, I think he makes this catch.
A leadoff triple ends the stretch of 12 in a row retired by Syndergaard. And the Mets will bring the infield in now for Didi Gregorius.
Well, in the National League, this is your chance to wiggle out of a situation like this with the pitcher coming up next. You only really have to get Didi Gregorius out. And what I mean by that is you wouldn't expect Pineda to be a threat and then get 2 outs to the top of the order with a chance to get out of it. So somehow, some way, get Didi to pop up or strike out.
And it's 0-2 now to Gregorius. You know, you think about Cespedes as a center fielder, and remembering the dialogue when he came to Oakland from Cuba, he had fashioned himself a guy that played center field. He was certainly open to playing a corner spot in Oakland, as he did in left. There was dialogue out of Boston that he was reluctant to playing a corner spot. Kind of hanging on this I'm a center fielder thing. At least those were the reports out of Boston. Nobody doubts the fact that he has the athletic ability to play center, but he has not played a lot of major league center fielder. That's the reality of it. A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Didi Gregorius.
Trust your off speed down. With something breaking down in his back foot.
Again, the infield still in with Ackley at third, nobody out.
Bounce it. Just like that.
Big strikeout for Syndergaard, 1 away.
That's your catcher enticing your big young stud. Got to get it down here now. Focus on down. Trust it. He changed his eye level. He's going to be aggressive because he knows the pitcher's on deck. Well executed pitch. Very nice.
There is quite a bit of trust between Noah Syndergaard and Kevin Plawecki. They have combined for Syndergaard's better appearances in his brief 21 start major league career. So now it's the pitcher Michael Pineda. He takes a strike. Pineda, not a guy who has swung the bat very often. Ellsbury waits next. This is just Pineda's second plate appearance of the season. Both of them have come today. And it would appear that way on the eyeball test as well. 0-2.
Yeah, well, it's obvious now by the lead that Ackley's taken 2 things. He's not going on contact, of course, but he also doesn't have a big enough lead if something were to bounce away from the catcher. You've got to get a bigger lead than what he's getting right now and react.
Back-to-back strikeouts after the triple. 6 for the afternoon now. And now if Syndergaard can just fade Jacoby Ellsbury, if I might borrow a poker term, he'd be able to get out of this runner at third, runner at third, nobody out jam.
First pitch the key here. I would think Ellsbury's going to be aggressive on a fastball, so you throw something other than a fastball. We're going to go with a changeup.
Ellsbury singled and scored and then grounded out in the third. A ground ball to Murphy, and indeed Noah Syndergaard yields the triple to start the inning, but gets out of the frame without a run. Still 3-0 Yankees. Bottom of the 5th inning, Flores, Conforto, and Plawecki for the Mets. And we've talked so much about the deadline ads by the Mets. As big a story was of the players that they kept, and for no one was that more interesting a time than Wilmer Flores, JP.
That is very true, Matt. It was July 29th when Wilmer Flores and just about everyone here at Citi Field thought he had been traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, of course, as we know now, that did not happen. 2 nights later, a walk-off home run against the Nationals, and since then hitting better than 300.
Yeah, he's really taken off since the oops, maybe I've been traded, no you haven't, Carlos Gomez situation with Milwaukee turned out to be the best thing to ever happen to the Mets. Not only because Flores has been great since then, but if you line up Cespedes' numbers versus what Carlos Gomez has done as an Astro, it's not even a fair fight.
Well, and the thing for, let's just say they got Carlos Gomez and he was on fire. I didn't like the trade because they were giving up Wheeler in the deal. They held on to Wheeler. They got Cespedes. They definitely got the best of everything.
Flores sends a fly ball the other way for Beltran. And there's one away to start the 5th. Well, July 29th, this was the scene. He was crying when he thought he was spending his last moments as a Met. Rumors of the trade for then Brewer Carlos Gomez had swept through the home dugout. July 31st, he was still a Met, capped off the weekend with standing ovations every time he stepped in, and then hit the walk-off against the Nationals. And now he's a made man.
That was a huge, huge home run in extra innings. Capped off a sweep.
Here's Michael Conforto now. And he takes a strike. Conforto has lined to center and made a brilliant diving catch in left field this afternoon. Into right center, Ellsbury has it in his sights, and a couple of fly balls open the home 5th. Today's telecast is sponsored by Budweiser. Budweiser, still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. So far so good this afternoon for Michael Pineda. We talked about the trouble he had in pitching with 6 days rest. No such trouble today. A walk and a pair of singles, the only quote damage against him today. Here's Kevin Plawecki now, and a slider starts him with a strike. Plawecki starting this afternoon in place of Travis d'Arnaud on a day when Terry Collins is willing to live with perhaps a little less offensively for the bonus of having that comfort factor between Plawecki and Syndergaard. Hot shot back to Pineda, who bobbles and throws out his man. Another 1-2-3 inning. We head to the 6th, where it is still 3-0 Yankees. Podcast is sponsored by DraftKings. Free 1-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com and by The Walk in theaters October. Well, there are the numbers we talked about earlier. Noah Syndergaard working with Kevin Plawecki. They have combined to do very good things in 12 starts. It has not been the same kind of success when somebody else has received Syndergaard, and we saw that really play out in the previous inning. After Dustin Ackley tripled, Didi Gregorius struck out, Michael Pineda struck out, Jacoby Ellsbury bounced to second, and for each of those outs, Plawecki was very active with his starter. They have combined to accomplish a lot. Here they are in the 6th, going to work on Brett Gardner, Carlos Beltran, and Brian McCann. Beltran has been the big enemy today, playing the role of the villain, one of 127 players to have been both a Met and a Yankee. And he's the guy that hit the 3-run home run in the first. That's been the story so far.
Well, regardless of how this ends up for Syndergaard, this has been a great start. And the first 3 hitters result in 3 runs, and you're sitting here in the 6th inning with a chance still, only 3 runs down. That's good poise and composure to get your team still in position to win a baseball game.
Ball and 2 strikes to Brett Gardner, who has singled and lined to left today. 6 strikeouts for Syndergaard, and again, if you remove the first 3 batters of the day, he is matching Michael Pineda pitch for pitch. Line to Granderson for out number 1. If you want to track the nickname Thor, you have to dive into the social media world, and if you do so, you can find a tweet that Noah Syndergaard sent out back in 2013 before he was on the major league radar. Hashtag Thor. And there he was working out in some kind of a full body armor suit. Carlos Beltran swings and misses.
You know what that makes me want to do?
Trick or treat?
Get a Twitter account.
Does it really?
Not really.
It surprised me there.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole deal, but more power to him.
Tag your post with hashtag SwingDataData, and T-Mobile will keep the conversation going data strong all season long. 0-2 the count to Carlos Beltran. Into right and drifting foul, out of play for Granderson.
Well, he got a little lucky there on a pitch that should have been much lower. Beltran out in front. See if he makes the adjustment and they double up and go lower, much like they did on an earlier strikeout for Gregorius.
Ball and 2 strikes.
It's 2 in a row. He wasn't able to make the adjustment.
Yeah, the Vikings are out en masse today to support Thor. There's another base hit for Beltran. He has been a real problem this afternoon. So 1 out, 1 on, and the Angels and Twins playing the first of a doubleheader this afternoon. Let's go to Ryan Field in our Los Angeles studios for a game break. Angels beating the right teams at the right time to stay in the hunt, Ryan. As you can see on the American League wild card totem pole, the Angels 2 back of that 2nd spot. And they've had some success pushing the Twins around of late. They've beaten the Twins in 10 out of their last 11. Here's Brian McCann now with 1 out, 1 on.
Well, what they've done is we've talked about the shift. And in the shift, in the case for Brian McCann, David Wright will be all the way at second base, playing the out of position, keeping the middle 2 in position, shortstop at second base.
Well, you know, when a team like the Mets are shifting for Brian McCann, that it is a league-wide epidemic against the 7-time All-Star. That's what it looks like via StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. See right all the way across in that second base hole. And I say that because the Mets, John, are not the frequent shifters that, say, the Yankees are. They don't do this a whole lot.
No, and, you know, the only time this really scares me is late in the game. And that left side is wide open for an easy.
3 balls and a strike to McCann.
You know, they'll do this in the 9th, let's say. Team's down by 3. All you got to do is push bunt and get the tying run at the plate. I don't see many guys do it, which is a shame. But you need base runners before you can tie the game up.
Syndergaard yet to walk a batter. Here he is out of the stretch with Beltran aboard. The 3-1 to McCann is swung on and sent to deep right. Granderson is back, and that one is gone. That's how you beat the shift. A 2-run shot for Brian McCann, and it's 5-0 Yankees.
They work the count into his favor. Fastball over the middle of the plate, kind of outer half, but this is what Brian loves to do. This is what they got him for. His ability to hit the ball in the air and pull the ball in short right field in Yankee Stadium. This one's a poke. This would have been out of any stadium.
A pair of big flies have been the so far story. McCann, with all his years as a Brave, and now what he's doing as a crosstown rival, 17 against this franchise. The rookie first baseman Greg Bird rattles one into the corner. That's a fair ball in trouble. It'll bound up into the stands. A ground rule double for Greg Bird. Look, John, you identified early on today the 2 innings that have given Noah Syndergaard the hardest time. The first inning.
Yep.
And that's when he gave up the 3-run home run, and the 6th. And so far, a single, a 2-run homer, and a double.
And it's just amazing how certain things work out. There's no rhyme or reason. It's not like he goes, oh, shoot, it's the 6th. You can understand the first. You know, preparation, getting ready, amped up, throwing that fastball, establishing the fastball. Because he's given up nothing in the 7th after that.
Well, he'll have Bird to contend with in scoring position now with Chase Headley at the plate.
Here's the pitch you want. You want it down a little bit, but the ball goes up, and that power and the good swing of McCann results usually as the hitter taking advantage of the pitcher's power.
Headley's 0 for 2 this afternoon, grounded to first and second. Mets bullpen getting hot, as you saw a moment ago. You know, I want to get back to Brian McCann. I don't know that a lot of folks have paid attention to the kind of run he's on. That home run for McCann, his 25th or 26th rather. We talked about that being the high total for a major league catcher this year. But more interestingly, it puts him 4 shy of tying a Yankee franchise record for home runs in a single season by a catcher. Jorge Posada hit 30 in 03, and twice in Yogi Berra's career did he have seasons of 30 home runs. And McCann is on that kind of pace.
He'll get it too. There's enough games left to play. Obviously, David Price on Monday, whether he chooses to play or not, or Girardi chooses to play him, will be a tough game. But everything after that should favor Brian McCann.
Both a right and left-hander up in the Mets bullpen now. A ball and 2 strikes to Headley with Bird at second and 2 runs in, 1 away in the 6th. Last year Brian McCann hit 23 home runs in his first year as a Yankee, and I don't know if 23 home runs can ever be hit quietly, but in McCann's case I kind of felt like they were.
He struggled so much early. He rallied late.
Still 2-2.
The shift really, he hit so many balls hard into the shift. And you can't say that it doesn't bother a hitter when you know you've squared some up that typically were hits. He did say he was going to try a little bit this year coming out of the gate to make that shift pay a little bit going the other way, but we haven't seen as much of that out of Brian McCann. But what we have seen is he's used to the adjustments he made last year in his mechanics, and he's back to the norm of driving the ball to the area that they want him to. They want him pulling the ball. They don't care if he sprays it.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Chase Headley. And a full count now. You can make a pretty good case back to our earlier discussion that we went on the air with John for this series being more important for either team. I mean, clearly the Yankees are the team with less of a postseason guarantee. Yet this series is no less important for the Mets, despite their big lead in the NL East, as Headley strikes out. To refresh you with the numbers, the Mets with an 8-game lead over the Nationals, and the Yankees 4.5 behind the Jays in the AL East, yet they've got that first wild card by 4 games in the American League.
But I think the big thing for the Mets is, I know they would like to have home field advantage over that first team they're going to play, but I don't think it's worth pushing guys and young starters to get it. If it happens, great. If not, well, you got rested starters. So in the case of the Mets, once they get that magic number down, they can do whatever they want and feel good that they've been giving their staff the opportunistic time to rest versus saying, hey, we're only a game and a half behind the Dodgers for best record.
Dodgers and Mets both with the same magic number to clinch a division title. It stands at 8. The Dodgers are at home later on tonight with the Pirates.
And oh, by the way, Greinke may have just sealed up or put himself back in front of that Cy Young race with another gem against the Pirates. The Pirates will have faced Lester, Arrieta, Kershaw, Greinke in a span of about 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, that lineup's going to have something to say about who wins the National League Cy Young Award. A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Dustin Ackley. Ackley has struck out and tripled today. Well, it seems like we change our minds all the time based on who has just started. It's really a what have you done for me lately discussion. Jake Arrieta has been brilliant for the Cubs. Kershaw and Greinke, flip a coin and you tell me who's more deserving there, and I won't have any problem with it.
I'd like to see 2 attorneys try to argue each case.
2 more runs in the Yankee half of the 6th on the Brian McCann long ball. 5-0 Yanks. Follow the September pennant races with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app now. And a reminder to keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV today. Some changes as we start the bottom of the 6th inning. Kelly Johnson into pinch hit. He'll bat in Syndergaard's spot in the lineup. Syndergaard gone after 6. He allows a couple of home runs, struck out 8, but leaves on the bad end of a 5-0 score. So Johnson, Granderson, and Cespedes. And Johnson behind the ball in 2 strikes.
Well, Pineda's been awfully good against left-handers, being able to get it under their hands, break it down, throw enough cutters for strikes, and then that bigger slider.
And Johnson takes advantage of a shift and punches it right through the vacated hole.
Ooh, I'm glad I'm not pitching these days.
You'd have been mad about that?
Well, I don't get it. When you make good pitches, I guess typically more times than not, the shift's going to help you out.
Leadoff hitter aboard for just the 2nd time for New York this afternoon. And now it's Curtis Granderson, who has struck out and walked. Yankees stay in the shift, and you saw a moment ago Stephen Drew has taken over for Dustin Ackley at second base. A strike to Granderson.
The Yankees from this point on will have somebody ready or getting ready in the bullpen, as I mentioned, with a lead, 6th inning on. They're not going to take many chances.
Quickly 0-2. You know, we talked about Carlos Beltran earlier today. We've talked about him a lot, being a former Met and the guy that hit the 3-run home run to get the scoring started for the Yanks. Along with Curtis Granderson, he and Carlos Beltran in a very select group of Mets outfielders who have had consecutive 20 or more home run seasons. Pretty short list. Beltran and Granderson. Darryl Strawberry did it 8 times. Kevin McReynolds, George Foster, and Dave Kingman. And that's it. And Granderson flares one into left. Back-to-back Mets singles open the 6th. Well, here's the kind of scene that Met fans have waited for a couple of days now. Yoenis Cespedes is in a little mini rut. He's 0 for his last 15. And he's got a chance here with runners aboard and nobody out.
Well, you know what's interesting about watching some film, a lot of times he just takes the first pitch in the first couple of bats. I would think this is a perfect time to be a little more aggressive. I mean, I'm talking taking. And the pitchers are aware of it, and it's almost like giving him a free strike. He's got to change their minds a little bit that he's willing to swing at the first pitch.
First pitch from Pineda is swung on and missed. Cespedes lined to center in the first, and then hit a hot shot back to Pineda in the 3rd. He's got Johnson and Granderson aboard here with nobody out. It's a very different feeling afternoon than the last time Michael Pineda pitched, and that was Saturday at Yankee Stadium. He had a 4-1 lead that afternoon, John. You and I were there to watch it. And then 3 home runs by the heavy-hitting Blue Jays, and you turned around and Pineda was out of the ballgame.
He's got room for error here. Not that he wants to make an error. He can make 2 pitches to get him out here. An 0-2 count. Make sure it's out of the strike zone.
And he strikes out Cespedes on 3 pitches. Came up and in with the high hard one, 95 miles an hour to register his 4th strikeout of the game.
Well, anticipating he was going to be aggressive, he started him off with a slider away. Very good pitch and a fastball he gets away with, and then one that he misses location but gets away with. And this will prove to be the last batter for Michael Pineda. As I mentioned, Joe Girardi not going to play around with any chances.
The Yankees make a pitching change. 1st and 2nd with 1 away. The Yanks go to the bullpen, and we'll be right back. On FS1 as UTSA takes on number 25 Oklahoma State. Then it's a clash between Cal and Texas on Fox. And in the nightcap, it's an early season heavyweight match between 19th ranked BYU squaring off against number 10 UCLA. It's back on FS1. All of it starts at 3:30 Eastern on your home for college football, Fox and FS1. Michael Pineda gone after 5 1/3. He struck out 4, allowed 4 hits. Yields with runners at 1st and 2nd to left-hander Justin Wilson, who makes his team-leading 68th appearance of the season this afternoon.
Wilson can throw it. See the record. Coming over from Pittsburgh.
See Brendan Ryan taking over at 2nd on the double switch. Shady Drew is in the game for like 6 minutes. Stephen Drew was in the game for like 6 minutes.
That promo you read, you think BYU has enough magic left? They've exhausted it their first 2 games.
You get to a magic moratorium.
Wow.
Usually it doesn't expire this early in the season. It's some start to the year for them. One away. Johnson and Granderson aboard for Daniel Murphy. who has historically not held up as well against southpaws as he has against right-handed pitching, and that's the story again this year. Takes a look at strike two. Ball and 2 strikes now.
If the circumstances were different, there's no way he would have taken Joe Girardi, in my opinion, Michael Pineda out of this game. But because they are really up against wins now, securing a spot and still chasing the Blue Jays, 5 1/3, he's now going to let the bullpen try to close that gap.
Well, it becomes a lot easier to mix and match your way to Betances and Miller when you have 5 left-handers in the bullpen, as the Yankees do with September roster expansion.
Oh my. Oh my.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Even Daniel Murphy reacted as though he were punched out there. He gets another life. Here's the 2-2.
You just feel the way the Mets are going now in their new direction and confidence, that it's a situation like that. I would not be surprised if Murphy doesn't take advantage of it and get a hit right here. When things are going well and the clubhouse feels good about no matter what the lead is, they were down 6 runs to the Nationals in a crucial series and came back, hit a bunch of home runs and won that game and swept that series in Washington.
Wilson ready to deliver the next 2-2 home. And Murphy hanging around. David Wright waits next. And it would appear that he too would be Wilson's hitter. Action quiet in the Yankee bullpen. The next 2-2 home to Murphy. And again, he's hanging around. Full count now. What a plate appearance this has been for Murphy. Yeah, he may have gotten a call there, but he's run it to 3-2.
Yeah, that was 97 away, and he was able to hold up. Haven't seen anything sweeping away. I don't think we will here. I think it'll be a fastball challenge. Try to make a better pitch on the outside corner.
The 3-2 pitch misses up and away. Ball 4. Boy, Daniel Murphy really came back from the dead in that at-bat. Wilson had him locked up and punched out. And then Murphy worked it to a full count after a series of foul balls and walks to load the bases. Here's David Wright. Wright had a couple of hits yesterday in the opener, working on a modest 5-game hitting streak. He is hitless to start the afternoon today.
First pitch, cat and mouse. Who's going to win? Who's going to make the pitch? Got away with it. You know, certain hitters, when the bases get loaded, there's runners in scoring position, their eyes light up. Some get more aggressive. Some actually allow the plate patience to work to their advantage. David Wright loves to seize the moment and take advantage of an early count swing.
0-1 pitch. 0-2 now to Wright. It's been an abbreviated season for David, coming back off of a very serious back injury. But since being reactivated, he's been terrific against left-handed pitching in particular this year. 12 for 29 against southpaws. Here's the 0-2. Mets are showing a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle and one who hit a pinch hit home run yesterday. Juan Uribe has grabbed a bat. He would hit for Lucas Duda.
Dangerous pitch, that pitch before there, 0-2. McCann wanted it up. Actually threw it right down the middle. David Wright just behind, fouled it off.
A ball and 2 strikes. You know, David Wright coming back off the DL was a part of the equation we discussed earlier about the Mets scoring more runs from July 29th on. His absence was really felt in May and June. And it's 2-2 now. So he too working back in the count after falling behind, much the same way Murphy did before him to draw the walk that loaded the bases.
See if he goes back away here. He opened it up if he wants it. They went in, made a really tight pitch off the plate. This is a decision pitch right here for Wilson.
The 2-2 home. Struck him out. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And there are 2 gone in the 6th.
See, going in allows you to get away with more of the fat part of the plate. So you make him conscious of it in. Pineda hoping for the best. There you go. Here's a fastball hitter in Uribe. You mentioned that he hit a home run last night to right field on a pitch away. I would think he's going to be ready, swinging right out of the gate here. A lot of experience that he's added this club.
Bases loaded, 2 gone for the pinch hitter Juan Uribe. His pinch hit homer yesterday came off a left-handed reliever. But Chasen Shreve doesn't throw as hard as Justin Wilson. 0-1 the count to him here. We talked with Terry Collins before the game about the contributions that Juan Uribe has made this season since coming aboard via trade. A guy that's been traded twice this year alone. And Terry told us it's been almost like having a player coach in his ranks. And that player coach is behind 0-2 here.
Yeah, that cutter was supposed to be in. That cutter ended up right down the middle.
Best chance the Mets have had all afternoon to get on the scoreboard. Had the bases loaded with 1 away. Wright struck out, and it's 0-2 to the pinch hitter Juan Uribe. And he too goes down swinging. Justin Wilson in and out of trouble in the last of the 6th. Nothing for the Mets. And just when it would appear that the Mets are ready to reclaim New York City, the old Vanguard brand has something to say about it. It's the Yankees on top this afternoon. A 5-0 shutout lead for New York. A pair of home runs. Brian McCann and Carlos Beltran. The undoing of Noah Syndergaard, who, though striking out 8, was unable to avoid those 2 big swings. And Syndergaard yields here in the 7th in favor of the left-hander Sean Gilmartin, making his 46th appearance of the year. Gregorius Ryan, and then the top of the order Ellsbury for the Yankees. A bouncer to first. The new first baseman is Daniel Murphy. He moved over there to accommodate Kelly Johnson, staying in the game at second. That's how the Mets realign here late.
Well, the Yankees escaped a potential problem there, where now again breathing room is what Joe Girardi wanted when he brought in his relievers. And Mets seemingly in a lot of these games in the second half would find a way to score a run. They did not in that inning. Good job by Wilson.
So now Brendan Ryan, his first plate appearance of the afternoon. The last of the 3 games on tap tomorrow, where it'll be CC Sabathia and Matt Harvey. No lack of storylines there.
All eyes will be on Matt Harvey, seeing if he can rebound with the rest and how many innings will he go, and certainly how this thing plays out the rest of the way will be determined on how the Mets decide it.
Popped up. Plawecki is there. Murphy's there. Call the ball, Maverick. Kevin Plawecki takes the body blow and hangs on for the out.
Last game we did in New York, it didn't end up too good for Toronto, where 2 guys collided, that being Tulowitzki. Murphy coming over from first base, probably didn't have to run that far from second, and probably doesn't anticipate Plawecki coming this far, and ultimately everybody's okay.
Two gone, bases empty. Right about the time the panic sets in. And look at it again on super slow-mo. They're still friends. Bases empty for Jacoby Ellsbury. Set the table in the first. Had that leadoff flare single. It was followed by a light base hit from Brett Gardner. Then the big fly from Beltran, and the Yankees haven't looked back. Nothing in 2, the count to Ellsbury. Guess nobody wants to clean up the thunder stick in the outfield, if that's what they call it here. I know they call them thunder sticks in Anaheim. You know, the annoying inflatable
very
thing.
Annoying.
Rolled out to second, literally. Kelly Johnson takes care of it as Sean Gilmartin takes care of a 1-2-3 7th. Up and stretching in Flushing, Queens. It's 5-0 Yankees. your favorite baseball memories all season long. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2015 postseason beginning October 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. 5-0 Yankees last of the 7th. Mets down to their final 9 outs today at home. Wilmer Flores will lead things off. Flores, Conforto, and Plawecki against the hard-throwing left-hander Justin Wilson, who got out of a bases-loaded jam with a couple of strikeouts in the 6th. You know, we referenced it a couple of times without talking about the big-picture significance of it, John. You mentioned the Mets' 3-game sweep over the Nationals, a 3-game set where they trailed in each game only to come back. It was a part of a really magical run for the Mets. One that fans would like to think is still going. But specifically, the Mets became the 3rd team in the last 60 years to have 7 straight games where they scored 3 or more runs from the 7th inning on.
It's just incredible. The timing of it, who it was against.
Still the ball and 2 strikes to Flores.
I'll tell you where it's getting interesting in other cities. Chicago beating St. Louis 5-1 again. Getting closer to the improbable, and could St. Louis be in trouble from holding on all year comfortably in their division lead?
Let's find out what's happening in Chicago with a game break as Ryan Field is back in our Los Angeles studios. Ryan. Yeah, they are hot, Ryan. The Cubbies have won 11 of their last 15. They've pulled within a game of the Bucks for the top wild card spot. We know that home field advantage would be big in any series, in particular when your home field is Wrigley Field in Chicago. The pinch hitter here is Juan Lagares, batting with 1 away and the base is empty. I mean, if the Mets timeline was ramped up by some surprisingly great performances and success earlier than folks may have seen coming, then you could ramp it up times 10 when you're talking about the Cubs. They weren't supposed to be as competitive as they are this year. That was supposed to be a slow build. Instead, it's been a sprint right into competitiveness.
Well, the one thing the Cubs have an advantage, they went out and got a couple veteran pitchers. That and John Lester. They re-signed Hamill, Arrieta on the cusp of Cy Young season. So they were banking on their young hitters to mature as quick as possible, and they have, and that's just unbelievable right now.
A single game for the top spot. I mean, San Francisco's running out of time, 9 back. So it appears more and more likely it's going to be Chicago and Pittsburgh. Where exactly that game is played is yet to be determined. Cubs' magic number to clinch a postseason berth is down to 7. The 1-2 to Juan Lagares is fouled away again.
Wilson has such late life easy motion. Ball just gets on top of the right-handed hitter. He's got that cutter that he can utilize. But this is just a gift right here, his arm. A little bit of a cutter trying to get it in. He hasn't located perfectly with that pitch, but I mean, the treat for Girardi would be if he can withhold his 2 monsters in the pen and win this game without him. Get him rested for potentially tomorrow and the upcoming series with the Blue Jays, but more than likely we're going to see one of them in today's game.
And Lagares goes down on strikes. Back of the Yankee bullpen is ornery, and as John mentioned, it appears we'll see Dellin Betances this afternoon. But that's not the only part of the bullpen that has been effective for Joe Girardi, JP.
No, Matt, really it's a staff-wide issue the Yankees have had. They're probably not going to have a single starting pitcher go above 170 innings this season. That's meant a heavy workload for the entire bullpen.
And we're seeing a pretty good sampling of it this afternoon. Another pitching change. We'll be right back. A pair of home runs by the Yankees, lifting them to their 5-0 lead. Carlos Beltran and Brian McCann with honors. Michael Pineda enjoyed the support. 5 1/3 of shutout baseball, and that guy Justin Wilson was terrific. Faced 5 batters, ironically walked the only lefty he faced, and then struck out all 4 of the right-handed hitters that came to try. Caleb Cotham will try for the final out in the 7th. As he faces Kevin Plawecki with the bases empty and again 2 gone.
This is when you should read that promo on the series Gotham. Oh, this is Cotham. I got you.
Caleb Cotham. Perfectly suited for one of these 2 teams, though, right?
Yeah.
And a bouncer foul to make it 1-1 to Plawecki.
Fastball, cutter, slider. He's got really good tight spin on his curveball. 12-6 break on it. Looking to just steal some outs.
This is when the Yankees, to your point earlier, John, get so ornery and so tough to beat. 5-0 in the 7th. The last time the Yankees lost when leading after 8 was in June of 2014. Against the Twins. They've gone 119 games leading after 8 and winning. It's the longest active such streak in baseball. CC Sabathia tomorrow night. He gets Matt Harvey, kind of the old guard pitching hero of New York, against the new kid on the block. CC's been real good since coming off the DL with the knee injury. And every time people try to write him off, I'll steal Vin Scully's line from the film For the Love of the Game. He pushes the setting sun back up into the sky. CeCe's been really good this year. Here's the 2-2. Full count now. Again, the Mets' best opportunity to score was when they loaded the bases last inning with one away. And that's when Justin Wilson got real mean. Struck out Wright, struck out Uribe. Payoff pitch home. A pair of relievers combined to strike out the side in the 7th. Still 5-0 Yankees. Moments of the game, a pair of them as a matter of fact. Both Carlos Beltran and Brian McCann with home runs. They've combined for 14 All-Star appearances, and they've combined this afternoon for all 5 RBIs. Beltran's 16th homer of the year, McCann's 26th. It's Brett Gardner that leads things off in the 8th and bounces out to the right side of the infield. 1 gone for Sean Gilmartin. And that'll bring Beltran back up for a 4th time this afternoon. Some changes defensively. Juan Lagares stays in the game. He takes over in center field, and that moves Yoenis Cespedes to left for Michael Conforto. As Beltran has started with strike 1.
Well, the Yankees did what they had to do. They put themselves in a situation to win this game, a much needed win. When you look forward, who they're facing and what they're facing, of course, Matt Harvey tomorrow, and then the Blue Jays, David Price starts off the series. I don't think Matt Harvey will pitch long enough potentially to even, well, he may go 5, but it's going to be a condensed fashion in his start.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that and the big discussion around the Mets a couple of weeks ago when the innings limit was put out there. There was a very strong reaction to it immediately by the most ardent Met fan and defender. There weren't too many folks that liked what they heard. And Matt Harvey went within a very short span from being the Dark Knight and a Mets savior and hero to a guy that had to fend off quite a bit of criticism.
Well, the problem is because it's who they heard it from. They heard it from Scott Boras, the agent of Matt Harvey, and that put Matt Harvey's back up against the wall and trying to explain or defend the comments, which therefore blew up. And when you're put in that situation, you can have tension between you and your teammates. We all know, and everyone talked about the situation following him all year was going to be he was not going to be given the amount of innings to just do whatever he wants. He's coming back from Tommy John. But they tried skipping him. They tried using a 6-man rotation. They looked like they were all working in accordance with each other. And then all of a sudden, here comes this statement. And it blows up. And Matt Harvey is stuck trying to defend or at least communicate what his plans are.
We talked to Terry Collins about it before the game. And it's Terry's take, as it is ours, that the Mets have done a really good job tuning that out. That's out to left for Cespedes in out number 2. What have they had to tune out? Well, if you hadn't paid attention, the innings limit statement got everybody's attention. Scott Boras and the Mets disagree about Matt Harvey's innings limit, said the New York Times. Forbes, Matt Harvey's anger is misplaced. He should blame Scott Boras for no innings capping contract. The New York Post, Mets must block out Matt Harvey's noise to avoid massive mistake. Matt Harvey himself trying to put an end to the controversy. I will pitch in the playoffs. I will be healthy. I will be ready to go.
I think some people had a hard time with where he came out with that information on the Players Tribune instead of dealing with it head on. So we'll see. I think the Mets are going to be fine. I think Matt Harvey's going to be fine. Yes, he'll have to condense his innings moving forward. But much like the Mets nation and their fans trying to come up with a way that they could blow this, they're not going to blow this. This is not a scenario where it was in years past, where with 17 games left, they lost a 7-game lead.
Well, I think it speaks to how well things have gone for the Mets when, after that whole media eruption, Matt Harvey makes his first start with all kinds of scrutiny on him, did not have great results, left trailing, and the Mets came back and won the ballgame. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to McCann.
Well, you know, it had to affect him, and certainly one would believe it affected his performance. They didn't play the perfect game behind him, a little bit sloppy, but the fact that that still reinforces what I've been trying to say since the beginning of this year. Everyone thought, and if your truth be known, you could take out the emotion and you could separate everything and put a blank name to everybody. You would, like everyone else, know that the Nationals division to win. They were built to run away with this. The Mets were going to rebuild Harvey, get him ready for the next year, bring DeGrom along, bring Syndergaard, Matz. All of a sudden, this looks great for next year. They didn't have the capacity to go 210, 220 innings. And now they're in it. And now they're faced with these decisions. So Mets fans don't want to hear it because they've waited long enough. They don't understand the complex situations of the way baseball is treating pitchers today. And when you have these scenarios, you have to adjust on the fly and you have to make adjustments.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And remember, last year, Matt Harvey wanted to come back and pitch in September at about 10 and a half, 11 months.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of, talk, and boy, fans loved hearing that kind of confidence. I think that may have been what bothered the fan base most. This idea that Matt Harvey was a Superman. I'll do anything. I'm here to fight and win, and then all of a sudden it was an innings cap. And again, he was put in a very difficult spot, the player himself.
Absolutely.
You're trying to be
sympathetic
to both sides.
We've seen this play out 2 years ago.
Right.
And we've seen it play out in Washington. I don't know why. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised by it. It was the same kind of reaction when we followed that scenario in Washington with Strasburg.
Here's the next 3-2. And there's ball 4. Let's bring John Paul Morosi in on this because there's been a lot of misinformation out there in terms of what the plan is for Harvey moving forward, JP.
Yeah, Matt, it's very interesting. The irony here is the Mets thought all along that Harvey would throw about 180 innings during the course of the regular season, and lo and behold, that's about exactly what's going to happen. He's at 171 2/3 right now. You figure, Matt, between tomorrow night and his final start of the regular season, probably 10 more innings, that would be right around 180.
Here's Greg Bird now, who takes a strike. You know, and again, through all of it, the Mets continue to have a big lead in the division. They're playing well. I just feel like, you know, Met fans, we know about this being a tough media town. There's got to be something for folks to wring their hands over. When everything goes well, you get the sense that they're going to look for something to make a big deal out of. This potentially is a big deal. But, you know, you still got fans talking about the 07 collapse. You've still got Met fans lamenting the years left on Bernard Gilkey's contract. I mean, whatever it is that gets to the Met fan, this is one of those things that sticks in their craw. And I guess you could understand that if you've been a long-suffering fan of the franchise. But from the outside looking in, there are 28, 26 other teams that would say, boy, we'd love to have your problems.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a long frustration put into one captioned moment or statement by somebody else.
And a called strike 3 taken by Greg Bird. Nothing in the top of the 8th. Mets are down to their final 6 outs today, trailing by 5. Take your favorite apps for a ride. And by Goodyear, tires chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. The Yankees continue to lead 5-0, a lead that grows more and more comfortable with the additional depth at the back of the Yankee bullpen, and their big all-star Dellin Betances takes over here in the 8th.
Yeah, I thought they might still try to steal one more inning before bringing him in, but again, wins being the key here for the Yankees. I mean, if they play 500 baseball the rest of the way in, they're more than likely going to secure a playoff spot. So that's if you're Joe Girardi, you're thinking, I ain't taking any chances.
Chris Young is the new right fielder taking over out there for Carlos Beltran. That's the switch that gets Betances into the game. Kelly Johnson, Curtis Granderson, and Yoenis Cespedes here in the home 8th. Big bipartisan crowd here. In fact, one of the biggest in this ballpark's history. Second largest crowd in the history of this ballpark, 43,630. The only one bigger was opening day this season. The 1-2 home to Johnson, and excuse me swinging a foul ball.
So this would be a good inning. I know Betances is nasty, and he's got the 98 followed by that incredibly sharp breaking slider / curveball. But to get his fastball going again, he came in with the first 2 pitches, blew it by Kelly Johnson. Take outs instead of trying to strike everybody out. It's a 5-0 game, and he's struggled from time to time. If he does struggle, it's with the command of his fastball. In Tampa, he had loaded the bases with walks, but got out of it without giving up a run.
Oh, that one clipped the home plate umpire John Hirschbeck. The full count to Johnson. You know, not even those big young Frankenstein inspired shoes that the umpires wear. The ball will find you on the wrong spot despite all the gear. Three-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Tough enough to hit 97, tougher in oncoming shadows. Time for a game break. What's happening with the Angels and Twins? Ryan Field in our Los Angeles studios. Boy, a good one, and with another still to come. Angels and Twins playing a double dip in Minneapolis this afternoon. Here's Curtis Granderson with 1 gone. 6 straight strikeouts recorded by Yankee relievers.
Well, imagine this being, or potentially as they're headed to that 1-game playoff, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a starter give the best effort. If the offense gets a lead, it's going to be up to the bullpen to try and mix and match.
By the way, who do you got for American League Rookie of the Year? Ryan just told us about Miguel Sano's home runs, 17 home runs. He's made a huge impact on the race.
Yeah, I tell you, it's great. There's a lot of race awards that are going down to the wire. I mean, you got Lindor in Cleveland, but I think it's going to come down to Correa winning it in Houston. He was a game changer. I know he's cooled off, but to come up and bat third and play every day at shortstop, pretty impressive. But Lindor's charging because so are the Indians. Teams benefiting from the youth that are more rapidly brought up in the big leagues and asked to contribute, not lightly, but in a major way.
1-2 to Granderson.
I think the Manager of the Year award is going to be the most tightly contested. The Rookie of the Year award in the American League, the Cy Young award in the National League. The MVP's already been decided. The Cy Young in the American League pretty much coming down to 2 guys.
How about Comeback Player of the Year in the American League?
Well,
I mean, Prince Fielder's probably the guy.
Yeah.
Until Teixeira got hurt,
yeah,
he was going to give him a good run for his money all the way to the end of the season, but likely Prince. Full count to Curtis Granderson. Bases empty, 1 away, last of the 8th, and a swing and a miss, and that's 7 straight Mets that have struck out against the Yankee relief corps. So with 2 gone, Jerry Seinfeld's new Twitter buddy stands in. They've been tweeting at each other. Seinfeld started with a Cespedes for the rest of us. We loved it. And then Yoenis Cespedes responded, looking forward to seeing you at a game. Jerry Seinfeld said, hey, you're a great player. Love watching you. Cespedes, thanks. Do you like Cuban sandwiches? Sure, let's have one together. You gave baseball a fast ride. Isn't it weird that I can tweet you but not the bird? Talking about the little canary that's become kind of the team mascot this year. And finally, a big congratulations from Jerry Seinfeld. Unlikely Twitter buddies, Jerry Seinfeld and Yoenis Cespedes. Meanwhile, Cespedes is still looking for his first base hit since being hit by a pitch on Tuesday. He is 0 for his last 16. Jerry Seinfeld is a noted Met fan, and he's not one of the Johnny-come-latelys that just shows his face now that the Mets are winning again. He's been in there through thick and thin. A ball and 2 strikes. All right, we have our crack research team scouring the annals of Mets records and previous box scores to find out what the franchise record is for consecutive strikeouts, the futility record, and on the other end, what's the record for Yankees consecutive relief strikeouts? Because Dellin Betances is a strike away from making it 8 straight.
Five-run game would have been nice for him to get 12 pitches or less.
Cespedes puts an end to the consecutive stretch of strikeouts by at least putting it in play, but instead it's just a ground ball that makes for a 1-2-3-8, so 5-0 Yankees. Well, the Yankees are an inning away from evening up this 3-game series. They've been stingy on the mound and have had just the right amount of offense. A couple of big swings, home runs by Carlos Beltran and Brian McCann. The story, 5-0 Yankees, top of the 9th. And it'll be the 6, 7, 8 part of the order against a new pitcher on the mound for the Mets. Bobby Parnell looking for a little bit of momentum. He's worked on back-to-back scoreless outings, yet in the bigger picture has allowed 13 earned runs over his last 13 outings, and that's contributed into the rather bloated ERA that you see there.
Yeah, they'd love to get him going somehow, some way, coming back from his injury. Not quite in the groove he'd like to be in.
Chase Headley starts the 9th. Hitless so far this afternoon. Headley, Young, and Gregorius for the Yankees. You know, as we talked about when we went on the air today, John, this series, because both teams are squarely in the midst of pennant races, it's about more than just puffing up your chest in the city rivalry. And in years when neither team has had the postseason in its sights, maybe that was more important. But among everybody we spoke to today and over the last day or so, nobody's really worried about who owns New York. This is about getting into the postseason.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, these games are more important to the Yankees than they are the Mets. Obviously, the Mets would like to get that magic number reduced, but they can get help with that magic number even if they don't win when Washington doesn't win.
We talked about the 3 previous seasons where the Mets and Yankees have played in the same postseason. In only one of those seasons did the Mets have a better record than the Yankees, and that was in 2000 when the Yankees would beat them in the World Series. Leadoff walk issued to Chase Headley. So Chris Young will make his first plate appearance after coming on in a double switch last inning. A noted weapon against left-handed pitching. It'll be a rare late game appearance for Young against a right-handed arm.
He's done a nice job for the Yankees this year.
One of the 127 players who has been both a Met and a Yankee. Just missed hitting him, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. When the Mets bat in the bottom of the 9th and hoping their deficit is no more than 5-0, they'll have Murphy, Wright, and then the pitcher's spot. 5 lefties in the Yankee bullpen, as we mentioned. James Pazos is one of them, and he gets up to start throwing. 2 balls and a strike.
Can't help but look forward if you're the Yankees. So tempted knowing that 3 games are with the Blue Jays. The excitement the Blue Jay fans are going to have in that stadium.
There has been a postseason atmosphere at Rogers Center, as there has here at Citi Field, for the last month and a half or so, that really no other ballpark has been able to compare to. And that's to take nothing away from the crowds at Wrigley or PNC or AT&T. Great crowds everywhere around the game. But because these two fan bases, that of the Mets, that of the Blue Jays, have been hungry for so long, it's really ramped up the timeline. It feels like October in both of those places. Young fouling one off the other way. And it's still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And what's interesting in both places, here and Toronto, they're both A, trying to win, make long runs in the postseason, B, lure the guys that they got over there to stay with them. A David Price, who's a free agent, and here Cespedes. And I think the success of either team, the length of it, the longer it goes, the better chance they have to sign in their guy. I really do. David Price, sky's the limits for what he's going to could potentially get in the open market.
Well, I mean, if you want to use some of those recent pitching deals as comps, and if, you know, Zach Greinke's got his opt-out language, we're going to back up another truck for him, whether it's in Los Angeles or somewhere else remains to be seen. But between Max Scherzer's deal last year and John Lester's, some feel like Price might settle in between those two numbers. Some might feel like it's a higher number. That one bounces away, and Headley gets a free 90 feet. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to Young with a runner in scoring position and nobody out. Parnell out of the stretch. Didi Gregorius next. And a swing and a miss. Let's bring John Paul Morosi in on this discussion. JP, I don't think it's out of the question to suggest that the fit has been so good for Cespedes in Flushing and Price in Toronto that wouldn't make a lot of sense for them just to kind of stay friends and extend their deals.
I agree. And Matt, very importantly, there was a recent change to Cespedes' contract, as first reported by Joel Sherman of the New York Post, that there used to be a clause in there that Cespedes' team had to re-sign him within 5 days of the end of the World Series. That is no more. The Mets now have plenty of time to work out a deal with Cespedes. As for Price, Matt, he's a guy, he loves the atmosphere that he's in. I think he loved it in Tampa Bay, loves it now in Toronto. The culture of the team he is on, I believe, will be a heavy influence there. One reason why the Jays, I think, will have a very good chance, but also the Cubs and Dodgers as well. Yeah, they're going to have to contend with the big check-writing franchises, as the Mets may with Cespedes. There'll be no shortage of suitors out there. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Gregorius. Many feel like Yoenis Cespedes is the perfect player at the perfect time for this franchise. Gregorius fouls that one away. Oh, he does not. That's playable for Cespedes, and out number 2.
He deked us both.
He deked us both. He's so good, we thought that ball was going foul.
Yeah, he gave up on it like, all right, it's going foul. I got it.
So 2 away now. Headley still at second. And the Yankees are going to go to their bench for Alex Rodriguez. It's a chance for him to get an at-bat in and stay fresh. At least one fan is delighted. A mixed reaction here across town, as one would expect. It has been a brilliant resurgence seasons for Alex Rodriguez. 32 home runs this year. So many counted him out after missing the entire 2014 campaign. Be hard to imagine the Yankees being in the position they're in without him this year.
I agree. I mean, it's been incredible.
Parnell's 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
I do think that, many people who played the game thought that as the season wore on, his legs would wear out, but they have taken care of that with just strictly using him in the DH role and giving him a couple days off here or there when interleague comes about.
Joe Girardi has done a great job in finding those diplomatic spots to keep his veterans fresh while not minimizing the impact, or while minimizing the impact of their absence in the lineup. And I'm speaking specifically about coming off of these interleague series. After each one of them where there has been no DH and Alex Rodriguez hasn't played, he's gone on a tear on the other side of it. Two and two.
Take a year off from anything, and it's going to be difficult to come back and be where you want. Take a year off at his age and come back and do that.
Parnell's 2-2. A full count now, 3-2. Well, the speculation was much deeper about Alex's ability to come back this year for other reasons. I mean, there weren't PED whispers. They were PED admissions. So there were a lot of folks that thought, all right, now that that's not happening, how good's he going to be? Well, he's hit 32 home runs this year. Full count. Here's the 3-2 pitch home. In the air to center. Playable for Lagares. And the Mets will come to the plate in the last of the ninth. Still trailing 5-zip. But there have been two great defensive plays that we'll take another look at via StatCast. First was made by Chase Headley. This one came early, robbing Wilmer Flores. And then the brilliant catch in left by Michael Conforto.
Yeah, once he got going, he decided he was going to take off and make that catch. See the route efficiency of 88%.
Even an imperfect route can have a perfect result. 5-0 Yankees, and James Pazos will look to make it official. Daniel Murphy the first to face him. Murphy right, and then the pitcher spot. Last licks for the homestanding Mets today.
One of the 12 lefties that Girardi has call-ups and all the options.
September roster expansion. The good and the evil of an up to 40-man major league roster. Active. By the way, we had that note earlier as Murphy serves a ground ball to shortstop for Gregorius, and there's one away. The string of 7 consecutive Mets that struck out, that fell one short of a team futility record. In fact, Yankee pitching had struck out 7 straight Mets as recently as last year. We're going to have a pitching change. How about that? In a 5-0 game with the bases empty and one away. Thanks for coming, James Pazos. Another pitching change, and we'll be right back. To their seats after a couple of bloop singles, a 3-run home run by Carlos Beltran, and that, as it turns out, is all the Yankees have needed today. They benefited from another home run, Brian McCann's 2-run shot. Your Bank of America play of the game. So it turns out more than one pitcher will work in the ninth in a 5-0 game with 1 out and the bases empty. Chris Martin will pitch for the Yankees. Martin making his 21st appearance of the season today, and again an opportunity for Joe Girardi to get a lesser used reliever into the box score today.
And avoid using their closer.
So it'll be David Wright and a right-handed pinch hitter to follow. Michael Cuddyer, the former National League batting champ, stands on deck. They represent the last 2 chances to keep it alive for the Mets today at home. Most of the other action in Major League Baseball later on tonight. Exception being the Cubs and Cardinals, who are winding down at Wrigley with the Cubs in front 5-3. A lot of momentum at Wrigley these days, and we'll be there next weekend for Cubs Pirates. First offering, David Wright misses outside. Twins and Angels still plugging away in a 3-3 tie in the ninth, in the first of 2 in Minneapolis this afternoon. Blue Jays get underway shortly. They're at home with the Red Sox. That's of particular interest to Yankee fans. Texas is at home with the Mariners later on tonight. And if you're following the best home record story in the National League, if you're a Mets fan, that is, the Dodgers have the Pirates again this evening with Clayton Kershaw facing Francisco Liriano. Ball and 2 strikes to David Wright.
Well, tomorrow, Harvey and CC Sabathia. I think the rest is really going to help Harvey, and don't know how many innings he'll go tomorrow, but given the circumstances of what he was under, people forget what a great year he's had. I mean, coming back from Tommy John, I know he's had 18 months, which is more optimal than the 12 or 11, but he really has had an incredible year from an expectation standpoint. And the team has been in a position now where it just actually puts more pressure on him, because everyone knew going in there was going to be somewhat of a limit. CC trying to prove he's healthy enough to make a stretch run for the Yankees. So interesting storylines as you move forward. Tomorrow should be fun here, and the fans will show up, I'm sure, again, looking for their team to win.
David Wright called out on a caught-looking strike 3. So 2 gone now, and the Mets down to their final swings. They'll come from the pinch hitter. Michael Cuddyer bats with 2 out and the base is empty. Cuddyer was used as a pinch hitter yesterday and struck out looking in his 1 and only trip to the plate. You know, when the original schedules came out and folks saw Mets Yankees lining up late in the season, might have caught you off guard because it's never happened this late, but I kind of like the way this is set up.
Yeah.
No one seems to have an answer for a perfect Major League schedule, given the constraints of having to play 162 games in a 180-day window. But if there would be a way to recreate this Subway Series late in future seasons, I think that fans would approve. 2 balls and a strike to Cuddyer.
Well, I don't know where you land the plane on interleague play. I think it's run its course for me personally. But having said that, it's difficult now with the way it's set up, because teams are going to fall on the finishing the year American League team in certain National League cities or playing without their DH, like the Yankees have had to do without A-Rod.
That's a good counter argument to doing it late. You're right.
And you know, the problem with that is coming down the stretch, how you're built and what you're trying to accomplish, September being such an important month.
Well, next year's schedule is out, and the Subway Series next year is a 2-game home and home in August between the Mets and Yankees. Full count to Cuddyer, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Be interesting to see what happens after this year too, if there's more momentum on seeding for the playoffs versus you could have 3 of the best records in one division and 2 of them are going to be the wild card play-ins, and they're going to get kind of job a little bit. Do it like the NBA and seed.
A broken bat bouncer that will put Michael Cuddyer aboard on a 2-out infield single. Ryan got to it but had no chance at a play.
Man, I'd like to have the power to make some changes. I wouldn't be very well liked, but I tell you, it'd be interesting.
If you're asking me my opinion for interleague play, here's what I got for you. I wish there'd be a way to preserve the real rivalry series like Cubs, White Sox, Yankees, Mets, even certain regional rivalries like Reds, Indians, but the rest of it you can have. I'm not that interested in the rest of the palette of interleague play, quote unquote. It was a perfect thing at the perfect time in the late 90s. But things like, you know, Padres, Mariners, that's a regional rivalry, at least in the current definition. That's not really moving anybody's needle. No offense.
And the problem you have, which has really been, people want to kind of discard it because they don't think it comes into play. But when you have the wild card situation and you have divisions not playing the same teams within your division, or you're not playing the same teams in general, it can come down to that one particular series. Let's just say the Mets and the Yankees versus the Marlins and the Rays, and you're having one of those teams fight for a wild card. So it's an interesting debate moving forward.
Oh, 1 to Wilmer Flores is bounced back up the middle. Gregorius picks, throws wide, and there are 2 aboard with 2 out in the 9th. Something that Joe Girardi wanted to avoid is Andrew Miller, not only him pitching, but him even standing up out there this afternoon.
And there's no real need to panic right here. I mean, I know he's trying to get ready, but these are the bullets right here that add up over the course of the year when they're going to try to stall. And Joe Girardi gave the talk kind of stall mode. And he's trying to stall and not going to take any chances.
Wow. 5-0, 2 out in the 9th. And 3 relievers will be used to try to finish off the Mets, including the Yankees closer Andrew Miller, who is about to be called on here. Back-to-back infield singles. And indeed, the Yankees need their closer to try to finish things out today. We'll be right back. 7th inning, and 3 pitchers will be used to try to combine to finish this thing out this afternoon. The closer, Andrew Miller, takes over looking for that last out of the day.
Yeah, and Joe is hoping it's quick, like on 1 pitch or 2 pitches. Having been in this situation, having done this quite a bit, it takes its toll and it adds up. People will only look at it as a third of an inning, but it's a long season. He's been up a lot.
There have been a lot of ups and downs in addition to the actual game appearances. That's the situation on base. 2 men aboard for the pinch hitter Travis d'Arnaud, who is rather seldom used off the bench. He is 0 for 5 in his career as a pinch hitter. d'Arnaud's had a terrific season. And this whole Mets offensive resurgence story since the end of July isn't complete without mention of d'Arnaud being healthy again. One of the notable big bats that they were without when the lineup really floundered in May and June. A ball and a strike to him with runners aboard and 2 away, last of the 9th. On a hop for Headley. And that'll do it this afternoon in Queens. The Yankees go a little bit deeper into the bullpen than they would have preferred, but it spells a 5-0 shutout victory at the end of the day. A couple of big home runs, and the Yankees even up their series with the rival Mets. So this is where we stand in the playoff push. The Marlins lead the Nats 2-0. Bear in mind the Mets' magic number at the start of the day was 8. New York now 7.5 better than Washington in the NL East. The Yankees pick up a half game over Toronto, who's in action a little bit later on today. And again, that Yankee wild card lock isn't anything quite ironclad yet. They still have the top spot with about 2 weeks left in the season, John.
Well, from things that were well in hand are getting a little bit interesting. Not for the Mets. The Mets are fine, but the Yankees still have a heartbeat for that division. Want to lock down that postseason spot. Nonetheless, set up their team and their rotation to try to make a run. Again, the final score this afternoon, the Yankees defeat the Mets 5-0. A reminder that later on today at 7 Eastern is Cal and Texas college football on Fox. So for John Smoltz and JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian thanking you for joining us from New York, where again the Yankees have defeated the Mets by a 5-0 final. Thanks again for watching, everybody. So long from Flushing, Queens.